Oh yeah, Hellfire. I haven't really seen anyone LP this game a lot. It's the expansion, unofficial expansion to Diablo, the first Diablo. Uh, Unofficial because Diablo's made by Blizzard, and I think Sierra made Hellfire. So, what I want to do is a sort of completionist run, show everything, show off all the spells, and while I do that, show off everything Diablo and Hellfire has to offer. Hellfire just added stuff on top of Diablo, sort of almost like an official expansion. There's two new areas to go to, new spells, new item mods and such, and actually one official character class and two new, so you got six to choose from now. New hero. And I just made a test just to see if it would record properly, but yeah, let me just go over the character classes real quick, and the strengths and weaknesses of each. Pretty basic. Warrior, your physical attacker. The way they sort of streamline you with your classes is you see the stats down there. That's their starting stats. They're max out in a certain way. Warriors will have more strength and vitality, rogue will be able to get more dexterity, and the sorcerer can get a lot more magic but less strength. The monk's kind of balanced, the bard's kind of in the middle too, barbarian's mostly strength and get zero magic. That being said, the way the stats work in the game, strength, it's pretty stereotypical. Strength increases your damage with melee weapons, and it lets you use heavier armor and bigger weapons, so every class needs that because they're going to want to wear better armor, though because you get gimped by strength when you're, say, a sorcerer, you can't wear, like, the super highest tier unless you've got a bunch of stat ups. But strength, good for warrior. I mean, you're going to do more damage. You get to wear all the stuff in the game, pretty much. Magic. Magic has two purposes. It increases your MP, or your mana, how much, you can use a cast spell. It doesn't regenerate in this game automatically like it does in many, many, many games similar to this. Instead, it just sits there and you have to use a mana potion. But yeah, mana is also important, or magic, the stat, not just mana. You need it to use spells. There's two ways to use a spell. There's single use from a scroll, which you just use it, aim it, and it's gone. You can't use it anymore from that scroll. Or a book, where you learn the spell permanently. And scrolls and books are found very, everything is randomly generated. It is a great replayable game because of that, because you can just go and dig back, find books and scrolls. But yeah, you need a certain magic stat to use a book or a scroll. Usually of the same spell, a scroll will cost less than a book. Dexterity pretty much determines a lot of stuff. It's really important. But not a lot of people pump it unless you're a rogue. You really want to max it out. It's like strength increases the damage of weapons, but only ranged weapons. It affects your armor class. I think every 5 or 10 points gives you another armor class, and higher armor is good. Armor in this game is a dodge chance, and it's not like absorption factor or anything. It's more related to Dungeons and Dragons. Dexterity also increases your chance to hit. Super important for anything hitting anything, and the warrior needs that too, so yeah. And it's determined for using bows, swords, and I think that's it. And then vitality is just life. Increases your life. Still super important. Then the class is warrior. Gonna go for strength. Hit stuff. He doesn't get that much magic. There's also casting times that change. He hits fast with any melee weapon. He, I think, is medium speed with using bows, but slow speed with spells. So, coupled with his low magic cap and his slow spells, it's hard to use magic with him, and he kind of just uses, he just gets a few spells and uses them like, little cantrips instead. Rogue, Master of the Bow. She gets tons of dexterity, and actually a little more magic to work with. I think her greatest weakness is she doesn't get a lot of HP, but she can sit back and hit stuff, unlike the warrior who's got to get up into the fray. Probably the best class to start the game with, since you get to experience everything. You can even use melee weapons with her. I think she's slow with melee weapons, medium with magic, and fast with the bow, obviously. But it still works. For just a mix, you get to experience magic, have pretty good stuff, be kind of safe, and pump up that dexterity. You'll hit everything, hopefully. Sorcerer is the magic guy. He doesn't get that much strength or vitality, but he gets oodles of magic, and there's a spell in this game called Energy Shield, which turns your mana into HP, pretty much. It, like, puts it up as your shield, and it takes mana before it takes HP. So, in truth, the Sorcerer has almost as much HP as the Warrior, pretty much, or more, when he's high level. And the spells in this game are so powerful. Once you get a Sorcerer up to speed, ooh, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. The only problem is he starts really weak, and you gotta know what you're doing to play him. He's kind of hard. So the Warrior, like, for the first 3 classes of Diablo, I'd rate the Warrior easiest to start off with. You just go and hack slack. The Rogue, little tougher. Gotta learn some more stuff, but whatever. And the Sorcerer's the hardest. Now, they added the Monk in Hellfire. You can see he's got pretty balanced stats. He's a glass cannon, in my opinion. He's a jack of all trade, master of none, but he can still kick your butt. He gets... he uses mainly staves. You didn't really use staves in your original Diablo, but this one, he gets an ability with them. He can either kick without holding a weapon and do damage, and he does pretty good damage, or he uses a staff and can hit multiple enemies while he does that. And he gets a good magic. So he's going to hit hard with his staff, hit multiple enemies, and be decent with magic. Problem is, he's never going to have as much HP or mana shield with, like, as a Sorcerer or Rogue. So you gotta play him sort of like he's going to die at any time. And you just gotta... He's really good in the beginning, but the glass cannon part starts to come on. But he's a fun challenge, and still a solid character. And the Bard and the Barbarian were sort of added as test things and never put in. The Bard is a mix of everything. She does everything, and she could dual wield weapons and hit multiple things. She's kind of like if the Monk was overpowered, and she's not really that fair to use. But near the end of the game, she comes kind of because you wish you were a Sorcerer or a Rogue or something, because she becomes that sort of jack of all trades, master of none, without, having sort of that. You really want a character that's going to specialize in something, but she's still fun to play as. It's cool to dual wield. I don't know why she's called a Bard, though. Because she, like, dual wields and shoots magic mostly. Then there's a Barbarian, which is my favorite addition. See, he has no magic, and he gains no magic unless you use items to raise that stat, but there's no point. He is basically pure warrior. The warrior does get a little magic, and you can help take her. Barbarian, no. Barbarian's a fun challenge, use no magic. He gets tons of strength, tons of HP, and every level, he permanently gets +1 to all resistances, which is amazing. One of my favorite classes, but we're just going to pop the warrior in. There's also a difficulty select in this version. I'll go over that later. But yeah, so here's all the stats I went over. Base and now pretty much means this is what they are when you have magic. And like I said, armor class tied to dexterity and armor to hit my current damage, resistances. Some things use lightning, some things use fire, other things use resist, but yeah, warrior, pretty good. Start off beginning of the game. Each time this is randomly generated. It's basically a little town with, you got the blacksmith, the guy who heals you, the guy who identifies your items, and then you go up here, and here's the evil church. Ooh, the butcher. So we got 2 quests already, but I won't go over that yet. Basically, I think there's 16 levels in the main game, and you go through them, they're randomly generated. Treasure, books, knowledge. You go through, power up, level up, kill the boss. Classic. One of the cool things about this game, though, is you can keep restarting your character. Say I go in and I get to, like, level 2. I can just restart the game with my stats, and you can sort of do that to, power up a farm for books if you want, and just play around with the game. Make a really cool, powerful character. But yeah, the Hellfire added 2 new areas. One is right here, which isn't open yet. It's this weird alien plant thing. The other one is up here, this strange grave. But yeah, there's I think each 5 levels turns into a new place. You start off in the church, but yeah, Diablo. Gonna LP this. I'm not sure what character I'm gonna play. I was thinking of playing the Sorcerer because I can show off all the spells. And And I can also show off weapons and such. I was also thinking of playing the monk because it is Hellfire, but the one good Hellfire LP I saw went over the monk really well. But yeah, so we have Cain the Elder.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
There's voice acting. He identifies an item for you for 100. There's the blacksmith.
Well, what can I do for you?
He can repair it. When items run out of durability, they are destroyed completely. So you want to make sure you repair it. And you sell items with him, and you can buy basic items, which is just normal stuff. Each thing has a class. So, like, the short bow is the basic bow, and then the next bow, I think, is the long bow, and then, like, the hunter's bow. Same with armor. I think the most basic armor is rags, then it goes to cape, then robe, and then, like, quilted armor, and then you start getting the metal stuff. You can also buy premium items from him. This is randomly spawned, I think, every time you start a new game, and the more you buy, it replaces it and adds it on. But yeah, you can buy any just randomly spawned stuff, and it's normally item quality that you can get now. Like, see, I'm getting cloaks, capes, and, like, little basic shields. I'm not getting, like, something intense. Ooh, a dagger. But I'm not getting, like, you know, like, bastard swords and full plate armor, so just check on that periodically. Over here, be Pepin.
What ails you, my friend?
He sells healing potions and scrolls of healing. He also sells stat up potions way later in the game for a ton, and when you talk to him, you get instantly healed. And then, way over here. Oh, so you see how fast I'm walking? Little tick 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 tick. Yeah, I'll show you something after this. Okay, so yeah, here's Adria the Witch. She's the magic person. She not only sells potions for mana, she sells scrolls of different things, and she sells books. So if you ever want books, you want to get over here and talk to her, because you really need books in this game if you're using any magic. Each book you read makes a spell a little better, increases damage, or lowers mana cost. And sometimes you can get a spell that you won't find, and then it's like, oh, she sells it. And she also sells staves, which is, eh. And she recharges staves. Let me actually click on here again. Buy items. Yeah, see how this says Red Staff of Stone Curse, and it says charges? That means there's 13 charges of Stone Curse in that staff, and when I take it back to her, she can recharge it. Each character also gets their own little skill. They are pretty bad. The warrior can repair items, but it lowers the maximum durability, so you don't want to do that, because you'll ruin really good items. Just use it at the beginning of the game. I don't even use it at all. The Sorcerer gets pretty much the identical. He gets it, but with staves. He can recharge staves, but it doesn't work. It lowers the maximum charge, and it's just, no. Don't use them. The rogue can untrap chests and all that. There's traps where you open a chest and, like, a fireball comes out. She can untrap those. It's kind of pointless. Traps don't do a lot of damage in this game. The bard can use the monk can use the new spell, Search. Search highlights items on the ground, because there's no key to highlight them. You pretty much just have to scroll over them. The bard gets Identify for free, which means she saves a bunch of money and can identify on the fly. And the Barbarian gets a rage spell, which it's bugged, it doesn't work. But even if it did, it'd be really bad, because it, like, permanently lowers your vitality. Don't use it. And so yeah. Basically, I'm gonna LP this game. I think I'm gonna do two. I think I'm gonna do the Sorcerer, pure magic, pretty much, and I'm gonna do the Barbarian, just pure attack, and show off both sides of basically the pendulum. I don't think I can do any multiplayer, because I don't know anyone who owns this game, or I don't think servers work for it, especially Hellfire. And yeah, I was gonna do that. See if we can get through everything, and it's gonna be a completionist run. 100%. I'm gonna try and get everything, try and get the best items I can, show off glitches, and go through every floor. Hopefully I can get all the spells, but yeah. To end off, we have a drunk guy. So yeah, there's a drunk guy over here. It's kind of ironic because the story to this game is this. I'm gonna go over it in full in the next video when I start off when I'm in the first area, but this game, this town is like all that's left from demons pouring out of that church. So these people are like in mortal danger. Like, this isn't just a quaint little town and go adventure. Like, there's a church right next to them filled with demons. So I'm shocked that only one of them is an alcoholic. But he's seen some crap. And with that, this is my first test of Hellfire. Let's see how it looks on YouTube and see if anyone else is interested. Bye-bye.